Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives official. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. At the headquarters of Body and Soul, Chanel met with Alex. They engaged in innuendo about her throwing her back out and then began passionately kissing on the desk. Johnny walked in and called Chanel a cheating bitch. Just then, in the DeMera mansion main room, a slumbering Johnny startled awake from his dream. Later, Johnny entered his and Chanel's bedroom and saw Chanel writing a text to Alex. When Chanel stated that the text had been for Felicity, Johnny sounded doubtful. Johnny inquired about how well Chanel had slept, because he'd crashed on the couch following his work. She said that while she had missed him, she had slept great. She said that her back was still tight, and she amazed at how lacing her shoe could have caused such an injury. Johnny arched an eyebrow and nodded. Sometimes it's the things you least expect. Tensions further heightened for Johnny after Chanel begged him to help with her zipper do of her back. When he offered to accompany her to the set, Chanel informed Johnny that Kate had postponed all of Chanel's scenes until the next day. With a strained smile, Johnny remarked that the delay would give him more time to prepare for Chanel and Alex's love scene. Chanel inquired if Johnny was still all right with directing the scene, and Johnny told her that he was okay. As Chanel prepared to depart, Johnny asked where she was heading. Chanel said that she wanted to stop by the bakery and check in with Felicity. She gave Johnny a kiss and exited. Johnny's smile dropped as Chanel left. Love General Hospital, B&B, Days or other soaps? Come over to our SC boards and join the discussion. To join the conversation and connect with other fans, click here today. In Alex's bedroom, Stephanie awoke and sought to remove herself from a still sleeping Alex's grasp. He awoke, opened his eyes, and murmured, "So much for that not happening again." Stephanie instantly got out of the bed and distractedly searched for her clothing. A slightly amused Alex accused Stephanie of appearing as if she had been caught in the middle of a bank robbery and waiting for the cops to show up. Stephanie conveyed her view that they'd made another mistake and ran out of the room, pledging the mistake would not happen again. Later, a half-clad Alex drank coffee in the main room and watched Stephanie prepare to make a fast leave. He urged her to remain and have a bite to eat, but Stephanie stated her calendar was packed and that she had to go. When she opened the door, Chanel was on the other side. Chanel took note of Alex's state of undress, widened her eyes, and winked at Stephanie. Stephanie blurted out a goodbye and fled. Alex invited Chanel inside and tried to clarify the problem with Stephanie. Chanel interrupted him and said that Alex was her fictional boyfriend, so he didn't owe her an answer. When Alex questioned why she had wanted to chat with him, Chanel explained that she was preparing a surprise party for Johnny and that she needed Alex's help. She clarified that she wanted to throw the party on site to keep it a surprise and to make Johnny more comfortable with her and Alex's cordial interactions. Alex understood and promised to help. Alex accompanied Chanel to the door, and she made him promise that he would not tell Johnny anything. Alex swore Johnny would be none the wiser, while Chanel verified that her husband would remain clueless. After Chanel left, Johnny, who had evidently caught the final half of Alex and Chanel's exchange, emerged from the corridor. Johnny, Carson Boatman, misconstrued a covert rendezvous between Chanel and Alex. Johnny, Carson Boatman, misconstrued a covert rendezvous between Chanel and Alex. Later, Johnny came at the Body and Soul office and caught Stephanie admiring a sexy commercial photo of Chanel and Alex. Johnny agreed with Stephanie's positive opinion of the shot. However, once Stephanie gone, Johnny violently crumpled the photo. In Horton Town Square, over the phone with Clyde, Mark confirmed Mark's plan to fly to Paris and kill Chad. Mark mentioned that Clyde should get a professional to handle the job, but Clyde continued to intimidate Mark and cautioned him to keep silent. Clyde gave Mark the advice, "Don't get caught," and Mark sarcastically answered, "Why didn't I think of that?" Mark also indicated he would not inform his sister to the scheme. Mark sought to extract a pledge from Clyde to free Mark's mother after the deed was done, but no effect. Mark finished the call in annoyance but plastered on a grin when his sister Felicity approached. Felicity joined him at the table and unsettled Mark when she inquired whether he had wanted to talk with her about Abigail. Before Mark could answer, Johnny interrupted the siblings and asked Felicity whether she'd seen Chanel. Felicity confirmed that Chanel was not at the bakery, and Johnny's mood darkened. Felicity also reported to Johnny that Chanel had not texted her, as Chanel had claimed. He remarked that he and Chanel must have had their signals crossed. He thanked Felicity and departed. Afterward, Mark questioned Felicity why she had brought up Abigail. Felicity revealed that Abigail had reminded her of their mother. Mark agreed that some of the behaviors were similar, and Felicity opened up about missing her mom. Mark claimed he missed their parents, too, and told Felicity that he needed to go out of town to settle their mom and dad's estate. Mark jokingly compelled Felicity to keep Aaron out of trouble. The siblings hugged and professed their love for each other. Mark pledged, "There's nothing I wouldn't do for this family." Later, Chanel greeted Felicity outside the bakery. When Chanel requested Felicity's aid with Johnny's celebration, Felicity mentioned that Johnny had been looking for Chanel. At the hospital, Steve delivered coffee to Kayla, who had returned from performing a medical procedure. When she mentioned the efficiency of her team, Steve snarked that he hoped the team hadn't included Dr. Mark Green. Kayla did not take well to Steve's comment and defended Mark. Steve insinuated that he had good cause to not trust Mark. He then scared Kayla by saying that Mark had fabricated Abigail's DNA test results. Kayla admonished Steve for his doubts, but Steve reminded her of all the facts that had made him suspect Abigail's claim. Kayla grew outraged after Steve said he'd had another DNA test conducted. Steve clarified that he'd done the test with new samples. He told how he'd gone to Mark with samples of himself and Kayla and that Mark had readily done the test. When Kayla asked Steve about the results, he stated, "According to Dr. Green, you're my mommy." Kayla was taken aback but advised Steve not to leap to conclusions, and Steve responded that there could only be one conclusion. Kayla reasoned that recreating the original DNA comparison between Jack and Abigail would not be a violation of Abigail's privacy, as Abigail had already provided her approval for that sample. She left to run the test. Steve called Chad and left a message asking Chad to get in touch with him urgently. In Paris, Abigail glanced at a picture of the real Abigail and Chad. As a tear trickled down her cheek, Abigail remarked how blessed the real Abigail had been to have had someone like Chad adore her. Chad appeared with a bunch of flowers, which increased Abigail's guilt. He told Abigail that all the flowers had been her favorites, and she praised him for his kindness. A concerned Chad questioned Abigail why she was crying, and she ascribed it to the emotions of the day. Abigail claimed she'd been gazing at a picture of Chad and Abby, before hastily amending herself to say "you and me." Chad told her they would be that happy again, and Abigail claimed that she wanted that life with him. Abigail grew more emotional and blurted out, "I'm not her." She reminded Chad that she had a different face and very few of her memories. Chad repeated that none of the distinctions mattered to him and that all that mattered was her. Chad gently informed Abigail that he was different, too, and that she did remember their love. Abigail concurred and added that the love was written all over my face. Chad saw her prolonged hesitancy, which prompted him to ask Abigail if she had been having second thoughts. Abigail reassured Chad that she wanted to marry him and pondered if she had always been such a basket case. Chad chose to define her as someone with a big heart and highlighted that Abigail should not feel obliged to act a specific way.